It's Tuesday, and we're heading into week 3 of the fantasy football season, and you know what day it is. You know what time we're talking about. It's waiver wire day. Tuesday, Wednesday, hot waiver wire days, and today we're going over a bunch of running backs. Some of them already been plucked off waivers. Some of you have been jonesing to see the advanced analytics on and hear my perspective on because of injuries. And injuries are going to start mounting up, and the waiver wire is starting to get hotter and hotter by the week. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're talking about the waiver wire every day. Starting Monday, we'll go light. We'll sprinkle it in. Then today, Tuesday, we go hot and heavy. Wednesday, we keep going heavy just in case your waivers run late or if you want to pick up some more guys. Thursday, we keep talking waiver wire just in case you want to keep picking up guys. And we go deeper talking rookies and everything else. We also do deep dives on the players, those top guys on the waivers that you got questions about. I'll do a deep dive so you can see the advanced analytics with the You Need series. And then also we use these videos to set your lineup. So much going on here. You better click that subscribe button right now. Stop missing out so you can get your information. Carson Steele is a hot topic right now because Isaiah Pacheco is the man and he should have been getting the workload, and Carson Steele should have been watching. That's how it should be. And now things are going to change. Isaiah Pacheco's out for a bit. Carson Steele is going to see some work. How much work? We don't know. Nobody knows. But when you look at his skill set, he's good between the tackles. He's good getting yards after contact. He's got good vision. He's going to be on the field to some degree. He's going to rack up some production. I would stash him. I would pick him up. I would look at him. I would be intrigued. Anybody on the field for the Chiefs I want. And I want him on my roster, whether as a bench stash, a guy as a spot start, or a guy I'm starting every week. So I like him as a stash. I like him as a stash and hold. I said, hey, look at him this offseason because of this opportunity because running backs get hurt. Isaiah Pacheco got hurt. And now he might be walking into some good opportunity. I look for him to get some goal line work because he is powerful between the tackles. He's got a little bit of wiggle to his size too. He's 228 pounds and he rolls downfield. Maybe he gets a touchdown here and there in some games, and maybe he gets more workload than projected. He's a wild card. This whole situation's a wild card. But Carson Steele in the preseason was rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling, and that is something you may want on your fantasy football roster going forward, but you may also want Samaje Perine. He gets more work in the passing game. He is using the passing game a little bit more, and he has been his whole career. A bigger running back that can thump between the tackles, who's very reliable. He's all around just good. He'll never be like that running back who just becomes an RB1 in fantasy. He might get buoyed to that due to the situation. We had a few weeks in Cincinnati over his time there. We might get a few weeks here with the Chiefs. I like that he's using the passing game. He seems a little bit safer to me due to that, due to him being a veteran, due to him getting recruited by Andy Reid, just getting that call over the phone. So that's something to look at there. Samaje Perine's a little bit safer. Carson Steele, I still want him on my team. I still want to have him because I think there's going to be some upside for touches. I think these running backs are going to have a split because Steele has been with the team a little longer, not much longer really when you look at terms, and then Samaje Perine's that veteran who's very capable, who's very dependable, and then eligible to return Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Stash him on your IR if possible with your league settings if he's sitting there, and he should already be stashed, but if not, try to do that soon, and then also just in case Kareem hunts, because they're looking at him as well, and he might be getting touches, but he has been wildly inefficient as of late. He's not the same Kareem Hunt. He's not going to look the same with the Chiefs, but on the flip side, the Chiefs can make chicken salad out of chicken shit with their offense, so he might be boosted up in production. That's why we're looking at all these running backs. He might get some opportunity. So look at Kareem Hunt. See what's going on with him. He already knows the offense, of course, so it's not going to take much of a ramp up. So watch him, see what's going on with him. He'll be a good stash, but I would not pay too much just in case. Dameon Pierce. Joe Mixon went out with an ankle injury. He was out of week 2 with a hamstring. but he is the next man up. He is solid between the tackles. He's very dependable, good vision. He will get workload. Cam Akers had a fumble in their contest with the Bears. Dare will also get some work here and there, but Dameon Pierce is the guy that will pound out workload between the tackles if Joe Mixon is out for some time. Foreman got some touches, and it was early in this matchup. Jerome Ford went out with a hamstring. We have to see with that going forward, but he looks like a good speculative add, especially in deeper leagues, or if you're hurting with injuries, maybe a guy to look to pick up. He's always been a guy, no matter where he's playing with, he'll have a game or two where he pops off production. It's not consistent, but it'll be like a game or two here and there. He crosses the goal line. He gets way more carries than what you think. Foreman is just one of those solid running backs. Bucky Irving is splitting the workload with Rachaad White, and you may want to stash him because there might be a time during the course of the season where he just starts getting more of the touches. He's good running between the tackles. He's good in the passing game. He's good wheeled out in the slot as a wide receiver. He's very dynamic in those regards. He's a very good running back. I wouldn't want him getting 25 to 30 opportunities a game, but I would like to see him get some workload, and I do think he can handle a decent workload, just not too much. But he can be productive in this offense. He's proven to be very, very good. And he's a good rookie to stash on your team because it looks like there's some upside here with him and the Bucks. Rico Dowdle, I'm not liking these running backs for the Cowboys, but it's starting to look like he's starting to be the man when it comes to touches. He's still splitting with Zeke. Zeke's very good in pass protection, so as long as Zeke's out there and healthy, he's going to be splitting the work, so that's something to look at. I'm just throwing Rico out there as not as a guy I'm promoting because I'm not promoting guys. I'm showing you everybody so you can pick the guys you want. But I don't like Rico that much, but I think he's going to have some moments where he crosses the goal line, gets some touches, but more in the softer matchups. Trey Benson is a stash for James Conner. Last game, week 2 against the Rams, he did not look so good on the box score, but that was late in the game, and they were keen on the run. But he's got good pop, he's got good speed, and if something happens to Conner, which we're seeing a lot of running backs go down right now, you're going to want Trey Benson. Antonio Gibson is a good cuff to Rhamondre Stevenson. I say cuff plus because he can hold some value on his own, but it's going to be spotty, of course, because Rhamondre Stevenson is good at getting volume. 11 rushing attempts, a 30% opportunity share in week 2, 1 target, 4 routes. He's good in the passing game. He's got a good pop in his step. He's got speed in the open field. He's very dangerous. And if something happens to Rhamondre Stevenson, 20 touches a game from there forward till Stevenson comes back. Ray Davis, the cuff to James Cook. James Cook's getting a lot of volume, so that could be a signal to potential overwork, and he could get injured later on down the line. Also, they may start saying, hey, he's getting a lot of work. We may have to bring in the other running back to get more touches. Ray Davis got some touches in the second quarter. James Cook, though, was just taking all of it, But they're trying to work him in. They're just not able to. Also, those fumbles in training camp, it was mentioned in press conferences that has been a thing preventing him from getting on the field, but he's reliable in the other facets, pass protection. He blocks his face off. Look at those highlights from preseason. He's solid with vision in between the tackles, but James Cook has been doing good. He has been road dogging teams. Braelon Allen blew up last week, and I've been telling you guys to stash him all along behind Breece Hall. Don't be worried about Breece Hall. If anything, this is good for him because he needs a meat shield running back to keep him from getting too much workload. If he had nothing but crusty running backs behind him, he'd be getting too much workload and then eventually breaking down. But Braelon Allen is damn good. He's damn good. He can be a starting running back for every other team in the NFL. He's that good of a talent. Very productive at Wisconsin. Over 1,000 yards rushing at 17 years old at Wisconsin. He's a young running back prospect who's very physical. He's going to have games where he crosses the goal line because he's big, physical, tough, rugged, and they're going to use him around the goal line, and he's a cuff plus. Like, if something happens to Breece Hall, he's getting the workload. But he's also going to have these random standalone games where he can get you production. Ty Chandler's got speed, he's got burst, and if he sees open field, boom, fantasy points. Not reliable right now due to Aaron Jones, but he's the cuff to Aaron Jones, and we're seeing that on the field right now, and it's starting to come to production off and on, softer matchups where there's opportunity where he could get a little bit more touches. Ty Chandler could do that for you and could possibly be a cuff plus, but if something happens to Aaron Jones and how they're moving the rock, But things are going to be different if something substantial is going on with Justin Jefferson with that injury that happened Sunday. Ty Chandler might be something you want. Jaylen Wright. He's not startable from what we've seen. But they're also saying, hey, we're going to give Devin H and all the touches and more. Whatever he earns, we're just going to give it to him. And then Jeff Wilson exited the game with an injury. It's heard that it's not that bad. But I want to see going forward if he misses time or not. He might be getting touches eventually by default if they keep wearing down these running backs. So he's a stash. He's a raw running back. He's not a great running back when it comes to vision, finding the hole and everything else, to all the technical things. But that size adjusted athleticism, that pop, and possibly being the default running back of getting touches if we keep seeing hunger games at running back. So he's a stash. He does have upside to be an RB1. He also has downside of being a really bad running back too. But looking at this, we got the hunger games here in Miami with these running backs. We got no quarterback play. The ball might be rolling to Jaylen Wright's way. Jaleel McLaughlin, I'm not into the Broncos. Really weird situation here. We're watching Bo Nix. He's bad unless it's 2-minute drill. But again, Jaleel McLaughlin's going to get work in the pass game. It's not dependable. They're not moving the chains enough. They're not scoring enough. But if you need a patch-up running back who's getting work, here you go. Justice Hill. The volume slowed down this matchup as it should, as we were kind of predicting for this matchup. We got Dallas. That might be a rougher matchup for Derrick Henry, but I think Derrick Henry's still going to roll. It's just he's going to be matchup dependent, and it's going to be against teams that's going to stifle the passing game, stifle Derrick Henry, and they got to get the ball out quick, and they got to get the ball out in space due to targets to Justice Hill. He does have upside, but he's not a guy you're going to stash every week. MarShawn Lloyd's a stash because we're seeing Josh Jacobs get 30 carries in a game, getting a lot of workload. Running backs break down, and Marshawn Lloyd's got good size, adjusted athleticism, and is a good home run play. Emanuel Wilson's a safe play because if Josh Jacobs goes down, he's good between the tackles. He's good grinding out yards. You may not be able to stash him in redraft, him or Marshawn Lloyd, but if you do have one spot and you're questioning Josh Jacobs or you got Josh Jacobs, Emanuel Wilson is the safer route because you know the touches will be there. Marshawn Lloyd is the home run swing that could be an RB1 if everything falls in line. But Emanuel Wilson's good. He's solid between the tackles. He's got size, and he moves well laterally with that size. Isaac Guerendo. So he is the Mason upside cuff because he would be sharing the backfield. He's a little bit raw, but he's got size, adjusted athleticism. He's got speed for days. He's a guy to stash in deeper leagues, but also you want to stash from this Niners backfield. You do because they turn out RB1s on these backups. They do. Elijah Mitchell, Jordan Mason. It just happens. And if something happens to Jordan Mason, maybe you want Guerendo as a stash. If anything, he will get a lot of chatter and a lot of buzz. Tyler Allgeier, I saw Bijan Robinson get nicked up in the third quarter as I was making this, and I was like, I got to talk about Tyler Allgeier. I don't know what's going on. I saw Bijan get carries a little bit afterwards. I think Bijan's all right, but Tyler Allgeier, if something happens to Bijan Robinson, he's going to get carries, he's going to get workload, and he was getting workload yesterday. I was seeing him on the field because I was watching the game while I was putting this together. I was seeing him out there, so he's a guy to pay attention to. Again, he's not a league-winning running back, but he's a guy that can get volume and score your fantasy points. Jamaal Williams, the Kamara Cup, getting opportunity in these matchups, and these Saints are rolling, so you want pieces of the Saints. He's probably a very underrated cuff right now because he's dependable. He scores touchdowns in bunches. He can handle a large opportunity share, and if something happens to Kamara, as these running backs are starting to drop like flies, Jamaal Williams might be a guy you're fighting for off the waiver wire. Dearness Johnson, take Bigsby's dealing with a shoulder. This is more for deeper leagues. I don't like him as a standalone talent, and also Travis Etienne's still there, but I'm throwing that out to you if you're hurting that bad and you're just looking for something. He's another guy to look at if you're in a deeper league, but that's the waiver wire for the running back position. We will be doing deep dives with the You Need series on some of these trendy running backs. A lot of them this week. We'll have some more out today. We're also going to talk about the wide receivers. That'll be out soon. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.